Well, we've set ourselves the task of looking at the major battlegrounds and divisions in the fight for 24, and nothing determines people's vote more than their age in this election. It hasn't always been that way. This graph shows Labour support among two age groups. So you've got older people here, aged over 65 in purple, and younger people aged 18 to 30 in yellow. Look how in 2001, for example, both groups supported Labour in pretty similar percentages. But over the past 20 years, this yawning gap has opened up. Now, almost 60% of young people intend to vote Labour this year. Less than 30% of the over 65s do. But this is a much bigger problem for the Conservative Party because it's their voters who are getting older and older at every election. 10 years ago, the average age of a Tory voter here and a Labour voter down here was virtually the same, hovering around 50 or so. But Conservative voters have rapidly aged since then. The average age now is 62, adding on a decade, which explains many of the party's policy proposals in this election, as we've been finding out.
Dido 1 to Dino 16, just final check to open up the park over.
At this family-run adventure park, they know a thing or two about the risk of extinction. The Conservatives are not yet political dinosaurs, but at Raw in Norfolk, we did find an ageing appeal to the party among the three generations that work together here, but feel ever further apart.
Back in that day, I would, to be honest, say they had it easier because properties were cheaper. Like, you could get a house easier, you could get a job easier.
I don't know whether we had it easier, again, leaving school at 15 and then working to 74.
I do feel like you guys had it better in terms of property values. Looking at my grandparents, they have got more land than my parents ever will and than I will ever own.
Well, no, I remember when I was 18, I was earning about £5 a week. The houses were cheaper, but I was earning about £5 a week. There was no way that I could afford a property at that age.
I don't want to completely disagree with you, Martin, but I think these guys have it really tough. And I don't think the Tories have made it any easier.
And do you think the Conservatives are deliberately catering towards the oldest generation in this election?
Absolutely, because they know that they will come out and vote and they know that they are going to be the people that will support them.
Isn't national service a way that the Conservatives are trying to speak to your generation and give you something?
Personally, yeah. I mean, you're going to force a younger child to pick up a shovel and go work. It's not going to work.
I wonder whether it was sort of aimed at older voters as well, to say, look, we can sort out the young, we can get them off their sofas and get them doing things. And
some of the older generation would have said exactly that. Yeah, get them off their so-and-sos and get them out to, to work.
Why? Why do we want to do that? It's either going to be a crazily good idea or it's going to fall on its head, really.
Do you think the Conservative Party cares about younger people?
No. Not as much.
Martin, which way do you think you're going to vote?
Conservative. Is not forced to vote the way I do. Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, I'm undecided at the moment.
But age is making minds up across the country like never before. And our elections analyst warns of a brutal reality for the Conservatives.
But older voters are also leaving the electorate. They are literally dying, obviously, in higher numbers. And so the Conservative Party has to replace its vote as it's losing voters through that process. And so the fact that age is so important to elections in Britain at the moment really has very important implications.
Including for Labour, who aren't immune to the effects of age. Some of the younger voters they've always relied on in student cities are rebelling over the party's stance on Gaza, including at this protest camp in Cambridge.
How do you feel about Labour's position at the moment when it comes to Gaza and Israel?
The Labour Party is so disgusting to me at the moment. It is so disgusting to me. It wouldn't be dissimilar from voting Tory.
Who's the alternative for you? Who are you going to vote for?
I think Green. I'll probably vote for them.
In a wonderful, perfect world, I would vote for Green, but I am also very aware that in my own constituency there are some very prominent right-wing figures, and I know that we are very likely to continue to be Conservative or go even further right, and I know that if I voted for Green it would be a wasted vote.
I wouldn't, even if I was in your position, which is a very difficult position to have, but even then I just couldn't do it.
I have to go Labour because anything else will get nasty people in.
Is that the least worst option, voting Labour
The
for
least
you?
worst.
How will you all feel if Labour wins the election?
I don't think it's going to be a cause for celebration. What I'm most concerned about is how big of a majority are they going to have in Parliament, and I want it to be as little as possible.
Despite that disillusion, time is likely to be cruelest to the Conservatives. A better ability to appeal across the generations could help a Labour government come of age. Paul Brand, ITV News.